Kaieteur Radio, keeping you informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Burbies 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Not a single bar of service.
Not with us. Digicel officially has the best mobile coverage in Guyana. Ookla, the company behind Speed Test, recognizes Digicel as the network with the best mobile coverage in Guyana. Be it in Georgetown or in NI, we got you covered. Digicel, better together.
This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Good day, welcome to your news at noon on Kaieteur Radio. I am Kevin Smith. Let's get to the news in detail. Former head of the Environmental Protection Agency, Dr. Vincent Adams, is of the view that the current production from the Liza 1 and 2 FPSOs, Liza Destiny and Unity, is illegal. This is since the operator for the starboard block, within which the two oil fields are located, ESSO, is yet to secure unlimited insurance coverage from its parent company, above the $2.5 billion that ESSO had secured and committed. The permit for the Liza 1 operations was signed a month after Dr. Adams was removed as head of that agency and replaced with the incumbent Kemraj Parsram. He lamented the fact that despite the fact that written in the environmental permit was that ESSO shall secure unlimited insurance coverage guaranteed by the parent company, ExxonMobil Corp., this was not done and the government has still allowed the operations to proceed. Meanwhile, despite Guyana increasing its charge for unauthorized flaring on board the Liza 1 FPSO unit to $50 in the recently renewed environmental permit, it seems that the paltry penalty is serving as an incentive more than a deterrent to ExxonMobil, which should have been a positive move for the country to prevent unwanted flaring by Exxon, is earning the oil company more money as it is cheaper for them to flare than to re-inject the gas into the offshore field. Dr. Vincent Adams informed that Guyana is losing heavily on the financial and environmental sides, while ESSO secures massive income from continued flaring. Dr. Adams revealed that while Guyana would be receiving a meager $12,000 from its $50 flare charge, ESSO would be making about $500,000 per year from the sale of oil produced through illegal flaring. And moving on. Weeks after announcing a gold find of significant quantity and quality in Guyana, Canadian gold mining company Golden Shield Resources has released the result of additional assays from its exploration activities and confirmed finding even more gold in larger quantities. The company made the announcement to its shareholders this past week by way of a public statement and said the new assay results are from the initial 7 holes of its 11-hole, 100-meter Phase 2 drill program at its flagship Marudi Mountain gold project in southwestern Guyana. And now let's tell you, following the contentious 2020 general and regional elections, President Irfan Ali committed to having a commission of inquiry into the actions that led to accusations of rigging and eventually the prosecuting several persons. Some 2 years later, Vice President Barra Jagdeo has indicated that this is not the route the government wishes to take at this time. Jagdeo said that the government actually wanted to conduct the commission of inquiry, but ran into some difficulty when court cases were filed against quote-unquote key figures. He explained that the government was advised by a lot of people that those charged for election skullduggery would not want to participate in the Commission of Inquiry by claiming that their responses would incriminate them in court. And now let's tell you, Trinidad and Tobago's Minister of Energy and Energy Industries, Stuart Young, said on Wednesday that solar projects and even waste-to-power are some of the new initiatives the Twin Island plans to incorporate into its energy mix as the state moves towards cleaner sources of energy. Further, to meet climate change objectives, the minister said that a 112.2 megawatt solar project should undergo construction soon. The project, titled Lara, will not, however, be the end point for Trinidad and Tobago, as while the development is being carried out, the country intends to invite more requests for proposals of such energy ventures. The time has now moved on to 12 hours 5 in Ghana. We'll take a short break and return with your news.
This is GHK Lal inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues. Immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
Let's vibe, sing, dance, and share positive energy virtually. Hello, lovely people. Join me, Shivani Lachman, and let's chill out every Friday from 3 to 4 p.m. A show that will be fun, simple, and interactive with giveaways and chit-chat right here on Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 and 99.5 FM. See you soon.
Just chill, chill, just chill.
Welcome back. Let us continue with the news. A family of three, a husband, his wife, and son, had a nightmarish encounter on Tuesday with two gunmen who invaded a supermarket they had recently opened at Belwest, West Bank Demerara in Region 3 and robbed them of cash, phone cards, and cell phones. In fact, one of the gunmen used his weapon to assault the wife, a businesswoman identified as 38-year-old Shamina Khan, after she was a bit reluctant to open the cash register. According to the victims, the gunmen took their cellular phones before grabbing a bag containing some $7,000 to $3,000 in cash and running out of the supermarket. Her husband reportedly continued the chase alone but decided to give up as the men turned into La Parfait Harmony. The victim said that as the bandit's car was heading into the area, one of the gunmen attempted to shoot at him. After the attempt was made, Khan's husband decided that it was not wise to continue. Region 3 Commander Mahendra Sunarayan said that his detectives have since traced the getaway car to a house located in La Parfait Harmony. Meanwhile, the APNU-AFC is set to mount a legal challenge against what they believe is the unlawful investment of local government commission powers in the body's chairman, Julius Faber, and Deputy Chairman Norman Whittaker. Opposition MP Ganesh Mahipal said that the LGC on Wednesday last passed a motion allowing the statutory body's chairman and deputy chair to independently make decisions that are the responsibility of the commission as a collective. In the motion signed by the LGC chairman, it was noted that it was proposing the motion in the interest of administrative expediency. Mahipal is adamant, however, that any move to improve the efficiency of the commission should see an increase of meetings if they are inadequate to fulfill the task of the body. Any delegation responsibilities of the LGC, as noted in the Constitution, should also be given to the local body organ and not any officer or commissioner within the commission. In other news, the financial proposals from the 8 firms who had applied to supervise the construction of the new Demerara River Bridge back in March were on Tuesday opened at the NPTAP office. The 8 bidders are all consortium firms. Earlier in the year, when the Ministry of Public Works had issued its public tender, it stated that the main objective of this consultancy is for the consultant to assist the ministry in the design, review, construction, supervision, and general project management of the construction of the new Demerara Harbour Bridge, and contract administration throughout the project implementation process and thereafter during the defects liability period. And moving on, 25-year-old Keno Corbin on Wednesday received a life sentence after being found guilty for the murder of remigrant agriculturist Anthony Brady, whose lifeless body was discovered in his Hillfoot Sousdyke residence in 2016. In April, Corbin pleaded guilty to the charge, which stated that between March 12th and March 14th, 2016, He murdered Breedy during the course of a robbery. Corbyn's sentencing was deferred to May 9, 2022 at 13 hours 15. And to wrap things up, the Ministry of Health on Thursday said that within the last 24-hour period, a total of 106 new cases, COVID-19 cases rather, were recorded across the country. The new cases have brought the total number of confirmed cases to 65,075. According to the dashboard data, the new cases were detected in Region 4 with 65, Region 3, 9, Region 6, 7, Region 2, 13, Region 7, 3, Regions 10 and 5, 2 each, and Region 9, 5. And just before we go, of course, as usual, we turn the pages of today's Kaieteur News dedicated to being blunt. In a country with a $1 trillion oil and gas industry, the erstwhile Vice President Bharat Jagdeo has been running around the country offering citizens part-time jobs. Could you imagine for a moment? Part-time jobs at $40,000 per month is a major policy initiative by our government, so much so that no other than Jagdeo leading its rollout. We have said here before that our leaders are visionless. They continue to give away billions in taxes to ExxonMobil annually, selling out our gold and timber industries, sticking with a lopsided oil contract that has made us poorer, and undertaking mega projects at prices far above market rates. But on the weightier matter of the welfare of citizens, they prefer to line them up across the country, offering them part-time jobs, mostly drain cleaning and weeding parapets. Guyanese, we need leaders with vision and not those who are determined to confine us as beggars, holding on to part-time jobs. And that brings us to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.
It is now 12 hours 12 in Guyana. We will resume with the rebroadcast of the Glenn Hall Show.
Dr. Vincent.
Hey, how you doing there, buddy?
Good evening, sir. Dr. Vincent, you are heading the EPA, in which
yes, sir.
the LISA permit were granted.
Yes,
everybody, it came up for renewal. I'm sure you have seen that, and you must have known that everybody was begging Guyana, the leaders today, to eke out as much as they can before they renew it, correct all the madness and all the mistakes, and hold it as a leverage, and get what we were robbed from the contract itself. Today, last night, the EPA approved the contract, and when you looked at what they got, I don't know if you look at it, but they got assurance instead of insurance, and they demand a $5, $1,000 more for flaring. You care to comment, my friend? So you're the expert. You're the expert. You understand this more than Glenn Lal. You care to talk to the Guyanese people a little bit. Go ahead.
Okay, Glenn, and thanks for having me. So
Yeah.
let me clarify just one thing you said here. I did not sign the LISA 1. As a matter of fact, the LISA 1 was signed by the current executive director of the EPA, Mr. Parshram.
Oh.
He was there 2 years prior to my arrival at the EPA. I arrived in October of 2018. I think that LISA 1 was signed in June or something of 2017. So I did not sign the LISA 1. So let me make that very clear. Now, when I arrived, I had the LISA 2 on my desk, and I saw, which was exactly the same thing that they wanted to go with as in the LISA 1. And I said, absolutely not, because the LISA 1 was really, really pathetic. And, of course, Mr. Parshram, I thought this here was an opportunity for him to, as far as I know, to redeem himself. But it didn't happen. And I didn't expect anything different, to be honest, because in all honesty, Glenn, I feel sorry for not only him but the EPA that is under the full control in terms of politics, not allowed to do the right thing in the interest of the people. They're more operating in the interest of Exxon, which like obviously when I was there I did not allow. And I had the free reins to do things. They do not have that option. The executive director, I can understand the position he's in, but I was not in the same position. So let's get to the specifics now, Glenn.
Yes, go ahead.
So Lisa won. So the first thing and they got this, they keep denying it exists. I want for Exxon and the EPA to reveal the documents that are on the files and to get a statement from the previous Exxon country manager for him to say, Rod Henson was the name of the guy, who was a I really respected the guy, very honorable person, honest. I want him to get a statement from him to say that he did not go out and get a $2.5 billion in insurance, which you're now denying. They brought it to me, and he thought that was it, and I said no. He said that was the highest that the insurance that they can get on the insurance market. I said, but the BP Macondo spill is costing $70 billion.
Correct.
The government of Guyana would go bankrupt. Our budget alone, the national budget, was only like $2 to $3 billion, which is 30 times. I said, so what I want for you to do, you have to get parent company guarantee. Those were the words. A parent company guarantee to cover everything over and above this $2 billion insurance that you're showing me. And by the way, he did show me the documents to show they had it. So he asked me, he said, well, could you go ahead and sign off on the Lisa 2 so we can give some confidence with our investors, and we wouldn't in any case, you're signing it here now in 2019. We're not going to start up operations until 2022. So, but give us time so that the three partners, Exxon, Sinnock, and Hess, could agree in how they're going to share that liability for unlimited liability coverage, unlimited, Glenn, anything over and above the $2.5 billion in insurance. Okay, it's a guarantee that the parent company. So we were meeting with them for an entire year. Okay, and as a matter of fact, guess what? The Lisa 2 that I signed, I wrote the language in there myself. Let me tell you what it says, Glenn. In section 12.1 says, Exxon shall have insurance. Section 12.3 says that the EPA shall, it didn't say may, it said shall, from time to time review the insurance policy. Those were the words, insurance policy, to make sure that it's updated, and it had a list of things to make sure that it had, and one of the things it had there was to make sure that Exxon is paying their premium. Guess what 12.5 says, Glenn? 12.5 says that parent company, there has to be a parent company guarantee to cover everything over and above that insurance and what EEPGL cannot cover. It's in there in Lisa 2. I put it in. And not only in Lisa 2, it's in every permit after that. It's in the Yellowtail, it's in the Payaro. They put it in every permit. But guess what they did? They started up Lisa 2 about 2 months ago without satisfying that requirement. So when they talk about we've got all this and it's improving, that language came from the Lisa 2. Here's the other thing that boggles my mind, that somehow, I think they just, it's an insult to Guyanese intelligence. It's an insult. So here they say, well, okay, guess what? We're collecting money now for flaring. Here's the ridiculous thing about that, Glenn. First of all, the EPA is not in the business of making money off of permit, but nevertheless, they say, well, in the Lisa 2 permit, and what we did, we stopped Exxon from flaring. The EIA says there shall be no flaring. It has to be injected back into the reservoir. For one Exxon is flared. So So now they claim that they're flaring only 4 million cubic feet a day, which is they say which means that's about 2 or 3%, and they keep talking about it 2% because it's a small number, 2 some small, but it's 4 million cubic feet a day. That's the lowest they've gotten. At one time they were 15 million cubic feet, etc. So they claim this is only Lisa 1 because they've not disclosed their production data yet from Lisa 2, unless they're putting it somewhere that I'm not seeing it. But anyway, from Lisa 1 alone. So here is the deal, Glenn.
May I ask a question,
Sure.
Vincent?
Yeah.
Who is verifying this flaring?
Well, that's another topic there, because one of the things, if you recall, you remember I've been on your show and Kiana's show all the time. I've been in the newspapers, your newspapers, and the one thing that we did, the World Bank sponsored, when I was there, I went to the World Bank. They gave us $1 million. They brought in an export. I sat with that export. We put together toward a 6-man team of highly specialized petroleum and environmental people to be on those ships 24/7. Okay? That's you remember that was my objective all along. It's critical.
Yes.
It's critical because that's what we do in the United States. You have to be on the ship because 99% of the times when they tell you something, it's exactly the opposite of what's happening there because they're protecting their interest. Well, guess what? As soon as I left, they abandoned. Even though the World Bank spent $1 million to help me put together that team, they abandoned that program and said, you know what they said? They don't need that program.
Wow.
They don't need it.
Wow.
So,
Guyana doesn't know that. Guyana doesn't know that.
I have been, and that's then I'm glad, it's on your show. Because that's one thing they can't deny because the documentation is clearly there. The World Bank million is there. The World Bank is going to tell you yes. They brought in, I can't remember. As a matter of fact, the guy did an interview on the guy they brought in from Brazil, the export. He did an interview on with Kia, and I'm sure, and the Stabrook News and everybody. It was all over it was in the news. There's a big thick document at the EPA showing the entire organization chart with this group of 36-man team, their qualifications, their experience, and everything, and they were going to be high-powered petroleum and environmental engineers. Of course, we would have had to go abroad, but that's okay. I had put all that in my budget.
So you're saying, that Jagdeo remove the policing for us.
The on-site police, and not only the police, the on-site, the 24/7. That was the whole purpose of it.
I am so happy. I am so happy that I can get people like you who work there, who can speak on these things, so that the Guyanese people can hear from the horse's mouth themselves what is happening. When this put another spin to this, it just add to the game Jagdeo is playing with the Guyanese people and their resources. We had policemen supervising and watching the flaring. Now you remove them. It's like you remove the security guard from the bank, guarding our money.
Absolutely, we had the plan in place to go out and hire. They pushed that aside and said, "This is what they told the staff. They don't need anybody to be on the ship." Well, of course, that Exxon probably directed them to remove it.
Yes. Well, Exxon, yes. Exxon is my Jagdeo father.
So here's the other thing too, Glenn.
Yes,
so the other thing they're bragging about, which again is a farce. Well, we've upped this thing to $50 per ton of CO2 flaring.
$5
$5, but it doesn't matter. Here's the deal, though, Glenn, and I want Guyanese people to listen carefully, because this is very important. I've been writing about it, but of course, you probably don't reach everybody, and you've got a big audience. So here's what that means. First of all, you can stop flaring completely. If you're flaring 4 million cubic feet a day, all you need to do, Glenn, to cut it back to zero flaring is to cut your production by 4,000 barrels per day on Lisa 1. I don't know with the rest of them, but and here's why. For every barrel of oil that you bring up to the surface, it brings up 1,000 cubic feet of gas.
Oh.
So if you want to cut by 4 million cubic feet of gas for that day, all you got to do is cut by 4,000 barrels per day, which means you're going to bring your production from 120,000 barrels
to 116.
To 160, but it's the greed. But here's the problem. Though. So let's use the $50 per ton of carbon dioxide that they're getting paid for. You know how much money they're collecting on that fine?
How much?
It's about $12,000. Do you know, selling at the current market price, how much they're gonna be getting for that 4,000 barrels? $500,000. So they're paying $12,000, right?
To get $500,000.
You're a businessman.
Oh.
And if you add it up over the year,
yes.
You know, they're getting $180 million for the year.
Yeah.
You're a businessman.
Yeah.
You tell me.
You hear how these smart clowns running our oil sector, having Exxon making wrapping rings around the neck. Thanks, Vincent. Go ahead. I'm glad you.
But here's what's the joke over, and I don't know, Glenn. I don't know if it's just ignorance or it's just, politics that is playing out here.
No, let me answer.
Okay.
ExxonMobil can do whatever they want to do in the eyes of Barajagdeo.
Yeah.
And the coalition government. Let's move on.
Yep. So the EPA is supposed to impose laws that are a deterrence. Now you tell me, Glenn, you're a businessman, probably one of the biggest businessmen in Ghana. Would that be if somebody tells you, well, okay, give me $12,000 and I'm going to give you, and you're going to gain 500,000, $500,000. Wouldn't you take it as an incentive? Would that be a deterrence? Yeah. Right?
That's an incentive. Now, Vincent, come on. A market vendor will understand what you're talking about.
Exactly. So, and here's the other stupidity about this. Well, then you hear the vice president and others at the EPA saying, well, this is the polluter pays principle.
Yeah.
Well, again, I don't know if this is ignorance or what, because that's not what the polluter pays principle is.
It's all about.
According to them, you can pollute how much you want as long as you can pay for it. That's not what it is for.
I know that.
The polluter pay principle is after you, like if you get a spill, you got to pay to clean it up.
Exactly.
You're not paying to pollute while you're producing, because
exactly.
If that's the case, you don't need an EPA.
These guys are confused. They're confused with the meaning, the understanding.
Absolutely. If not, you don't need an EPA for that, Glenn. You can set up a finance office and say, okay, for every ton of this you use, this is what you pay.
Yeah.
You don't need any it's just a money game. You don't need an EPA to make sure that they're following rules and regulations.
Vincent, but this is what people like Jagdeo do, right? They use these terms, the polluters pay principle. Oh, we are following the polluters pay principle that the world is adhering to. But the poor people doesn't understand what it is. You understand? Unless we explain it to them. You understand? And this is what they get by with. They're called fuffles people mind in this land. You understand? But listen, all this, with today's technology, my friend, and with social media, with this www World Wide Web, trust me, all of them will end up be in jail. Trust me, man. Trust me. Go ahead. Let's go.
The good thing, though, Glenn, Guyana is fortunate to have people like yourself, because here's the modus operandi as far as I see how this government is operating. they are, they're saying, well, okay, this is just going to be the news of today or the news of yesterday, and we're going to move on to something else. But you guys are like bulldogs. You're holding on to it. You're keeping it going. And you and even the international community has gotten involved because they see, how we're being taken advantage of. And that's the only reason why I stay involved, Glenn. Mm-hmm. Because I can't, I've been fortunate that Guyana has given me the grounding of everything that I've accomplished in the United States and internationally. Mm-hmm. And I cannot see us being taken advantage of by these multinational, international corporations. I am not going to do that as long as I breathe. So that's the reason why I'm involved. And I know that that's the reason that people like yourself and others are involved. And, and hopefully you guys, hopefully we can persist. And something has to break. Something has to give.
It has to.
So here's the other thing that they brag about that is a little bit laughable. Now they've set up what is called a community grievance mechanism, a project community grievance mechanism. so Glenn, it's for us in the community when we've got the problem, we could call in a complaint. Well, how many complaints do they get on a daily basis? They do not respond to calls. They do not look in the gas pipeline. They did not even hold a meeting where the pipeline was going to pass in canal number 1. The lady wrote, they were articles in the newspaper.
You're going too far. You're going too far, Vincent. Every day in the Kaieteur News alone, you have 50 questions, 50 grievances. Are they responding to it? So everything these people create or come up with, it's only to appease people and let people believe, we're doing the right thing.
Here's a big one for them. Going back to the Lisa 2, because this is a big one, Glenn. Mm-hmm. In the Lisa 2 that says you have to have insurance and you have to have parent company guarantee.
Yeah.
They went ahead and started up Lisa 2 without any of that. That's an illegal operation. Why are they answering the question every time I and others have asked? Why did you start up Lisa 2 without that requirement being satisfied? They never answered that question.
And why didn't they use the Lisa 1 renewal to correct that?
To correct it, to make sure that they're not going to issue that permit unless they get that. You're absolutely correct. They could have used the Lisa 1 and said, well, okay, I am not going to renew it unless you go and get the guarantee. But here's the other thing, Glenn, that I want the Guyanese people to know. That you remember I told you I signed the Lisa 2 with that language. I wrote that language in Lisa 2. Mm-hmm. And then they said, well, could you go ahead and sign it? But we got 3 years anyway, so we're going to make sure we got the agreement in place. So in 2020, just before when I was leaving, we were nearing an agreement because the 3 companies, they were arguing between each other as to how they're going to cover the liability. Mm-hmm. Guess what I told them? I said, well, something, I am not signing the PIRO unless you get that agreement in place. Mm-hmm. So they started hurrying up to get the PIRO thing. And I said, on top of that, that the Lisa 2 will not be started either, or no production. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? I left in August. In September, they went ahead and signed the PIRO.
I know that. Mm-hmm.
When they had to sign the PIRO.
And then Jadego signed Yalotero. And then he's going to sign Yalo.
And then now here again, Glenn, I don't know if you're saying notes. Then they're bragging about they're going for this $2 billion in assurance. This is all absolute nonsense. When we have the language in there already that says that you're going to get insurance plus a parent company guarantee for unlimited coverage, no $2 billion.
Exactly.
No $2 billion, it's unlimited. That's the word I was using throughout my entire unlimited. So let's say you get a $2 billion here, Glenn. Let me say you get a $2 billion. Suppose you get a spill like you had in the Gulf that cost BP $70 billion.
Guyana is doomed.